Hello everybody, good morning and welcome to the United Stand. This is your latest Manchester United news. Goldbridge still on tour, but we're back this afternoon with a watch along for Chelsea versus Liverpool if you want to watch that. And we've also got the Sunday night show tonight. We've got Ricky on as well. But look, let's fly into the news. Lots to talk about this morning. We're going to start off about Junior Alvarez, but there is also some interesting news around Donny van der Beek, Jesse Lingard, the midfield situation, Twan Sebi and a few other things as well, especially around Donny van der Beek, who looks like he's going to be staying at Manchester United until the summer, but maybe not for reasons we might have thought. So we'll be talking about that. But let's start off with Junior Alvarez, because I feel that we almost need to reassess. And cheers, by the way. I'm not drinking anything other than stronger than tea this morning, but that needs to cool down a little bit. It's hot, hot, hot. But yes, Junior Alvarez is a player that we've been linked to a lot over the festive period. And as we go into the new year, the 3rd of January is the most important date, which is tomorrow. This is apparently when his agent will fly in and speak to Manchester United and other clubs. Now, I read something this morning on Twitter. I think it was Chris Winterburn, who is a journalist, saying that Alvarez's release clause actually increases mid-January. And he was saying this will be an indication as to whether Manchester United are truly moving on from the Ed Woodward era. Now, the Ed Woodward era was take ages on transfers, as we saw a couple of years ago with Bruno Fernandes, where we waited right until the end of January and got him, but lost to Burnley in that period, which we wouldn't have done if we'd got Bruno. So they value saving a bit of money and negotiating a deal to death rather than points. Obviously, if Alvarez's release clause is going to go up mid-January, then that deal should be done before then. Now, my personal feeling is that Alvarez will not sign for Manchester United, that he may well sign for a Bayern Munich or an Italian club, which is the norm with South American players. But I must admit that that's my advice, but I have got to be honest and say that numerous people over the last couple of days, who I trust, have messaged me saying there's definitely something going on with Alvarez. So I'm of a mind to say that just watch this space with it. I wouldn't get massively excited. The player would suit us, especially, Anthony Martial's gone. Cavani is going to go in the summer if he doesn't go in January. And Alvarez is in his early 20s. He's a very, very well scouted and touted player. Can play off the wide position, can also play through the middle. Very intense player, can press from the front. Very good record in relation to goals and assists for River Plate in South America. And I've got to say about River Plate as well is that whoever you're buying from South America, River Plate in Argentina is a very, very high-end team. So obviously there's always a risk with a South American player because it's not the Premier League, it's not the European League. But these South American players, they don't turn up in bloody Walthamstow in London or, Yorkshire. They turn up, they're born in South America. And every previous South American player that's been decent has started off in South America. So if we get him, I'd be excited about it. I sort of feel that we do need a player like that with Martial going. I think he's a loss. And Cavani's injury record, Rashford's lack of form. But I don't think Marcus Rashford is that sort of player anyway. So I think we're sort of got Mason Greenwood's probably the only striker that we've got who is got a bit of creativity about him. And he's still learning that trade as well. So let's wait and see what happens with him. And I think, as I said, with Alvarez, there is a lot of noise around him. It could be like Casido a couple of years ago where we don't get him. But we were interested in Casido. We just decided not to do it. I think people used the Casido deal who went to Brighton ultimately as an example of us being linked to something, but we didn't get him. But we were interested. And obviously, the one thing I would say about Alvarez before I move on is that agent talk is the thing. This could well just be the agent using Manchester United, South American journalists using Manchester United. But look, we have got a different manager now, and that's what makes me hopeful that maybe there is something in it. Let's wait and see. But I certainly think it's D-Day tomorrow. And there is a lot, the deal could be very close. There's a lot of talk around it. Next, I want to talk about Donny van der Beek. So a story coming out from the Mirror, I think, last night, saying that Donny van der Beek is trapped at Manchester United. Well, he is trapped at Manchester United. He can't get any game time. But not only that, in relation to trying to leave, he changed his agent a couple of months ago, but apparently the contract with the previous agent doesn't run out until the summer. So his current agent seems powerless to get Donny out of Manchester United in January, and this would be more about a summer move, which means that Donny van der Beek will probably end up staying till the summer, which will suit what Manchester United want. We know that Manchester United don't want Donny van der Beek to go in January, and it's probably highly unlikely that he will. We're very short around the midfield area, and although Rangnick doesn't seem to want to use him, he is an option for Manchester United that I think is probably going to have to sit on the bench until the summer, which is a risk for him because if he wants to go to the World Cup, even if he gets a good move in the summer, he's got, 2 months until Van Gaal picks his squad for the November World Cup. So I think that Van der Beek's World Cup chances are probably gone if he doesn't move in January or he doesn't get a place at Manchester United. But it's an interesting story. I sort of find the Van der Beek thing... I'd filed Van der Beek in the sort of Jesse Lingard, Dean Henderson sort of tray now, where if I've got a desk in front of me and I'm Ralph Rangnick, I've got problems in different trays, and Martial is sort of solving itself, but Henderson, Lingard and now Donny are problems that those three players clearly want to play first team football, and I can't offer them that. And all three players are missing out on first team football, but also potential international opportunities. So how do I deal with those problems? And I think Donny does fall into that situation now, whereby he can't afford to sit on the bench, but he clearly is sitting on the bench. And I think in the fan base, it's always going to be a bit of a division point, because he is a player that many fans think is good enough to get game time, whether it's in the Bruno position, the Fred position, McTominay position, whatever. But the manager, previous manager and this manager doesn't. Now, I've spoken about this before. I don't actually think the new manager is different to the old manager. And what I mean by that is there's still a lot of legacy there. There's a lot of the same coaches. There's people like Darren Fletcher and Mike Phelan who were very close to Ollie in the last year and are now very close to Rangnick. So this is not when I see a complete reset, I'll say there's a reset. I don't think it's fair to say, well, it's two managers now who haven't picked Donny. I haven't seen a massive change in the way that Manchester United are selecting teams. I haven't. I think there's a lot of similarity in the way that we're selecting teams to how there was, because I think United are looking for some stability, which is not unusual. It's not the norm. Most new managers come in and pick a different team and pick a different style of play. I think United have decided to go with a bit of stability. You know, there's certain people being picked that probably shouldn't be picked. This dropping of players is very sporadic. I mean, really, Rashford got dropped midweek. Bruno didn't. He was suspended. So what happens against Monday, against Wolves tomorrow? Does Rashford come back in and Bruno come back in? So I think there's a lot of stability around the team. So I think it's unfair to say that, well, Donny's not being picked by another manager, because, well, Jesse Lingard's not getting picked. Dean Henderson's not getting picked. Martial's not getting picked. Bailly's not getting picked. So, and Bailly only got picked because of Varane's injury. So I don't think it's fair to say that, well, he must be shit because another manager's not picking him. But he certainly isn't anywhere near the first team, but it looks like he'll be staying until the summer. One player who's moving in January, the first deal, if you count loan deals, is Twan Sebi. Romano's been talking about that this morning. Romano is going to go to... no, Romano's not going to Napoli. Twan Sebi's going to Napoli, which, to be honest with you, he wasn't playing first team football for Villa anyway. So if he can get first team football at Napoli, it's well worth keeping an eye on Serie A, which is a very interesting league, and Napoli are doing very, very well. So interesting to see what Twan Sebi does at Napoli. I still hope he's a player that's got a future at United. I certainly think he's got a future in the game. I think he's a really good player. So that's an exciting deal for him. We believe Villa wanted him on a permanent deal, which United didn't want to do. But Napoli on a loan deal looks like it is going to happen. So that's one deal there. I just want to talk about Lingard as well, very quickly, because I think it's very easy to look. What I do on Twitter is not what I do on YouTube. When I go on YouTube, I have a think about what I want to talk about. YouTube to me is the bread and butter of the United stand, because that's basically where we get to talk in depth. Twitter, you only get so many characters. Yesterday, I was saying Jesse Lingard put an Instagram post out yesterday of him in a West Ham top again. Now, apparently it was a forward of a Premier League image of it, but it's not the first time he's done this. And what I was saying is that there's no leadership in that club, and people were like, well, it's not Harry Maguire's responsibility to stop Jesse Lingard doing that on socials. Well, I'm sorry. Welcome to the United stand. I think it is. I grew up with Roy Keane as our captain, and there is absolutely no way, if we had an equivalent of social media, that Roy Keane would find it acceptable for any member of the Manchester United squad to be taking the piss and putting pictures out of themselves in a West Ham shirt. He'd pull them aside and he'd say, look, if you don't want to be here, get out of the club. Don't start posting pictures of yourself in a West Ham shirt, but then run your contract down till the summer. We're in a really important point now where we're trying to rebuild. We're trying to rebuild trust. We're trying to get points. We're trying to get into top four. You can go in January and you're putting pictures out of yourself in a West Ham top. Piss off to West Ham in January. Well, I don't want to do that. We'll stop doing posts about it then, because ultimately we've got too many leaks and too many things. Now, some people might say, well, that's not, he can't say that. He can do it if he wants. Well, yeah, he can do it if he wants, but also the captain can say to him, stop doing it. You're causing issues. You know, he can be put in the reserves. Now, I like Lingard. I think people get lost in the agenda here. Lingard shouldn't be at the club. He was treated like crap in the summer. He should have gone in the summer when his stock was high and he could be in the England squad. Unfortunately, he's stuck at United. He probably does want to go to West Ham, but he's being told to run his contract down. But how does that benefit me as a Manchester United fan? How does that benefit you? How does it benefit us to go, oh, well, I can understand Jesse's position. Let him put pictures out of himself at West Ham. Let him run his contract down. It doesn't benefit Manchester United moving forward. And I think we've got to, I know people are going to disagree with me. And I like Lingard, the individual. I like Lingard, the player. I don't think he's a first-team player for United, but he does need to move. So anyone who's moaning about, oh, you shouldn't be saying this, shouldn't be saying that. Well, I will say it because I think it. And if I think it, I will say it. And I actually think Manchester United, in fact, I know Manchester United's squad is riddled with people that shouldn't be there, that are pissed off and are actually being counterproductive to anything we're trying to build. And on top of that, to compound it, we've got a lack of leadership. That team needs a leader in there that's respected, who can go to these players and say, show a bit of respect for yourself, but more importantly, show a bit of respect for your teammates, the club and the fans. We don't want to see you constantly leaking information out or putting pictures of yourself out in other shirts. If you don't want to be here, go and train with the reserves or get yourself a move. Don't start moaning about a lack of game time, but then run your contract down. Now, that might be quite harsh. And to be honest with you, again, I like Harry Maguire, the individual. I think his form at the moment is terrible. And like many ex-players are now waking up to, he shouldn't be the captain of the club. But the reality is, there is a lack of leadership in that club. And people just want to play the sympathy card. But with Manchester United, I don't see Man City playing the sympathy card. They're playing the professional let's win card. And trust me, if you go into a workspace and you've got disgruntled people who are leaking information out, it undermines everything you're doing. So look, I like Lingard, I like Maguire. And as I said on Twitter last night, what I want is these United players to figure out what it is they want and get out the club or get on board. Look at DVDs of the past if it helps. Look at what we were, look at what we're meant to be and start showing some bloody leadership, because then people will stop undermining you and moaning about you socially if you are doing your job properly. In relation to the midfield, and look, that goes for Donny, that goes for any other player that's not happy. Don't start sulking, get yourself out of the situation, because ultimately there's a lot of players at United that will be waiting till the summer because it's financially better for them. Well, don't moan then. It's hypocritical to moan about your situation and put leaks out and then not want to move till the summer. That's just petulant. If you are focused on your footballing career, which your moaning suggests, go and play football. If you're focused on your wallet, shut up, get on with it and focus on your wallet. So yeah, that's what I think about that. Look, a lot of talk about yesterday about the midfield situation as well. Declan Rice playing very well for West Ham. I tell you what, that race for top four, we'll be talking about it on the 8 o'clock show tonight. Arsenal drawing with Man City, they should have beat them. Spurs with a late winner against Watford. West Ham smashing Palace. This race for top four is not a mess. And for me, you can talk about Alvarez, you can talk about players leaving, but we need to buy a midfielder. 100% we need to buy a midfielder. Now, I'm hearing this morning that Roma, Mourinho want Kamara from Marseille in January. Obviously, Hadera is playing in the AFCON. People are talking about Declan Rice. I mean, I don't think Declan Rice is achievable in the summer. I wouldn't go for Declan Rice. I think he's a fantastic player, but it's too risky to spend another £80 million on an English player that's not played or won anything. And I do like Declan Rice, and I genuinely think if he goes to Chelsea, we'll be looking at it going, what a player. But Chelsea's dynamic is different to ours. Chelsea have won Premier Leagues in the last 10 years. They've won a Champions League. Manchester United haven't won anything, and I don't think we can afford to go, afford to go and get someone like Declan Rice for 80 million. And then, I think we need to bring two midfielders in for 30 million rather than Declan Rice for 60. I'd be happier getting Kamara and Hadara or Kamara and somebody else than getting Declan Rice. But the reality is, my main point is, what are we doing in the January transfer window? I'm going to say it again, and I'm going to keep saying it. If we don't buy midfielders, a midfielder in January, I look at West Ham, they are overachieving, but they're consistent. I look at Arsenal, they're getting better and better. And I look at Spurs, they're the same, and they're going to buy, and they're not in Europe. I worry about top four because, yeah, we beat Burnley and we played well in parts, but that's Burnley. They're third from bottom. What are we going to do when we've got to play West Ham, Spurs, Arsenal, go to the Etihad, go to Anfield, go to Goodison Park? We've got difficult games to come, and I just don't think we're at that level in the midfield. And ultimately, our best midfield is probably still McTominay and Fred. So we need to buy a midfielder, and we need to be doing it now. But I think the club will be going like they normally do. Can we get by till the summer? Can we get by to the summer? Well, I tell you what, if we try and get by to the summer, it could be bye-bye to Champions League football, and then it'll be bye-bye to Ronaldo. And people need to get it in their head. Do you think Cristiano Ronaldo is going to stay at this club and play in the Europa League next year? I don't think he would. Do you think Man United are going to get top four this year? I don't think it's guaranteed. So people need to start waking up to the fact that the transfer window's open. We need a midfielder. There's some really reasonably priced midfielders out there. We desperately need it. Even if it's just to come in and, learn their trade, be rotational, give some competition, but we're desperate for a midfielder. Anyway, look, that's your latest Manchester United morning news. Make sure you smash a like on the video. As ever, really pleasurable to be with you. I am going to be live this afternoon at about 4:30 for Chelsea versus Liverpool on That's Football. First watch along in the new year. Manchester United against Wolves is 5:30 tomorrow. I thought it was 8 o'clock for some reason because it's a bank holiday in the UK. And I'll speak to you all in a bit. Thanks very much for watching.